I finished my playthrough of House of Ashes. I was able to do this in one sitting, and it took me about 5.5 hours long to get through the campaign. And of course, this is Supermassive's newest entry into their Dark Pictures Anthology series. So this is the third entry of 4 in the first season. So of course, what became before it was Man of Medan and last year's Little Hope. But of course, as we all know, and this game comes from the makers of Until Dawn, so it is a very cinematic experience where you are watching a lot of cutscenes and moving around, finding basically items to interact with that'll give you more story. But a lot of the gameplay is mostly quick time events in terms of cutscenes and making choices from the characters in the cast that could affect every single part of their fate, whether it could be relationships with other characters, certain traits that they carry that could keep them alive or get them killed in certain scenarios. And of course, too, that they can die in most any point of this game and you have to continue on the story without them because choice is just a huge thing. And these games are known to have pretty star-studded cast, and leading the charge is Ashley Tisdale in this game. But this follows a group of US Marines, mostly special forces, at the close of the Iraq War in 2003, hunting down weapons of mass destruction. They think that they have uncovered something big, but when the ground crumbles beneath them during a big firefight with some of the Iraqi military, they realize that they have fallen into an old Sumerian temple, and it contains a huge nest of just unearthly, just big, terrifying, super scary creatures, and they have to survive the night below and forge a brotherhood with the Iraqi soldiers that they fall into this Sumerian temple with in order to get back up to the world above. So without further ado, let me get into my review for House of Ashes. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the gameplay here because, I mean, if you played Until Dawn any of these games, it's the exact same thing. If like this cinematic storytelling, interacting with quick time events and just little pieces of information here and around the world as your character just constantly moves through the world, this game isn't going to be for you if that's not your style. But if you loved all of those other games, you're definitely going to love this one. And especially too, I find if you're more a fan of the horror style that Until Dawn went for, I think you're really going to like how this one played out. It's where you have very capable characters taking on the scenario that they're placed in. And I was a little worried that this game wasn't going to be scary or have like good characters because they're all military. You think that they'd just be hardened and go through this entire game just basically brushing everything off on their soldier because that's what soldiers are trained to do. No, that is not the case at all. This is definitely the scariest of the games I personally think the scariest the games have been since Until Dawn, and they just did a great job giving them a threat that was very, very tough to go up against. And I found that they were able to craft a really good story and my favorite characters that they've ever been able to in all of these games, including Until Dawn as well. I loved them. I just found it was really, really human. I loved how you got to kind of see both sides of the war and how different and similar these characters can be on the Iraqi side and of course the American side. And I just think they did a really, really good job, especially with the character Salim. He was perfect and amazing and truly just the core of this team that had to be formed and the heart of it too. He was just absolutely amazing. I really liked Mike, and Jason can have a really good arc, of course, depending on your choices. How the characters change to the world depends on the choices that you make, and I found that I made some that were just very just led to really well-written conclusions and just arcs for these characters that truly I fell in love with them. I wanted, even though some of them really got on my nerves, like Eric here, I really wanted to get them all out, and just I cared about all of them in some form or another. I found too that the choices were a little easy to make in this, but when I say easy to make, it's just I knew where my heart lied with most of these decisions, but they still made me think about what is the best thing to do in this scenario, because you're still left in the dark with what these creatures truly are that are hunting you in these Sumerian temple caves. And just to when they build to what these creatures actually are, it's a twist that I don't think anyone's going to see coming, but I really liked what they did with it. And I thought it was pretty cool, pretty damn awesome how they were able to just grow the scale of this game to something absolutely massive and huge, and just how the characters rally around it too. Again, I thought was absolutely amazing. And watching some of the other decisions that you can make and the consequences that they all have. This game is epic from start to finish, like right from the start. It takes place in Sumerian times, and again, it's just action packed and full of just very hard hitting moments. And just too, I just love playing both sides of a single conflict, and they just did a great job showing that in the Sumerian times and also too in the 2003 Iraqi war times. Truly loved what they were able to do with this game, and it was just too the most fun I've had playing these games since Until Dawn. I just found it was so Until Dawn was so different for the time and so much fun to go through, and it's the exact same thing with House of Ashes here, because just some really, really great action set pieces. The characters are great, the dialogue's great, conversations are great. I truly just absolutely loved playing through this game. And two, I did really like, there's just some really cool journal entries that you're able to find of a professor who was in the Sumerian caves during World War II, and just his research was really awesome. So I definitely recommend seeking those out. And I found too that in Man from Medan and also too in Little Hope, the totems weren't too clear in terms of giving you warnings or like for later on in the game, where this one really did a good job with that. I found it's just, like I said, did a perfect job with giving you enough warnings for things that could come and the choices that you should be making if you want to keep these characters alive. But of course, my one complaint is I do find that the and Until Dawn, you have to hold the controller still in certain places or else it could get your characters killed. And I hate this new video game where you basically have to time the breaths with button pushes on your controller. And I hate how like just doing one of those wrong can get your characters killed in the game. I wish that it had to be like two things that you'd like, two strikes and you're out, instead of one thing where you've done everything right, but one little button press that you swear I hit it, I swear I saved this guy. But just one little press wrong and your character's done. I find it's just super unfair when I feel like it should be a culmination of mistakes and not just the one. But I mean, that's how life goes sometimes, and I know that's what they're going for. But truly, this was a great story, and with everything taken together, I do highly recommend it. Anyone who liked Until Dawn and all these other games to check out House of Ashes. It is just very well written and fun. But if you don't like these types of story games, this one does nothing different. It's not really going to be for you. Maybe you'll like the story, but this is something I would save for a sale time. But I am giving the Darken Pictures Anthology House of Ashes an 8 out of 10. I'm going to play it again and again and again because I loved going through this campaign and doing all these choices, and there's so many to make and so much more that I need to find. I mean, 5.5 hours in this game I think is a decent chunk, and I was able to get about, I think I missed 2 of the totems and I have over 80% of the collectibles, so there's still stuff that I missed, and I thought I was being very thorough in all of it. So yes, I do highly recommend this game, really, to anyone, because it is fantastic. But if you've played House of Ashes, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. How would you rank these 4 games, or these 3 if you just want to do the anthology pictures? And of course, if you like this video, you can check out everything I do video game-wise on my YouTube through my playlist down below, and I also links them up top here. You can also check out everything else I do on the channel. If you like what you see, subscribe, turn the little ring on if you want to know when I upload new videos. If you want to see everything that I do live stream-wise, there's a link in the description of this video and in my bio to my Twitch channel, so you can definitely check that out. And there's also a link in both of those places to my Discord, the Media Mountain, which is where we talk about movies, video games, TV, comic books, pretty much everything that's awesome in this world. So definitely join that amazing community. I'll make it even more amazing than it is already. But yes, definitely go check out House of Ashes. It's awesome, super fun time, and awesome, guys.